You are listening to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald, also known as Lauren Fitz. I'm a medical doctor, a fitness instructor, an entrepreneur, a health and fitness coach, but most importantly, I am a lover of life. And here on the Fitz and Healthy podcast, I intend to give you a ton of great information and knowledge that will serve as potential power so that you can live a life by design and make it more fits and healthy. And don't forget to listen to the disclaimer at the end. I'm not your doctor, yo. All right, enjoy the episode. Much love. Ciao. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to FITz Friday Q&A. Cinthanie and I are here. We are ready to answer your questions, and we're ready for Facebook to come join us as well. You guys, I have to say that last week's FITz Friday Q&A is going to be hard to top because if you missed it, it's downloadable today. But Coach Tulin, I've gotten so much feedback from her podcast. It's not even funny. So if you guys have not gone and downloaded the full episode that dropped on Monday, you have to listen to it. So what kind of stuff did you learn from it, Cinthanie?
A lot, because I've heard of PCOS and I know that a lot of people have struggled with it, but I don't know the details of it because I haven't personally experienced it.
Right.
And so just getting to hear her perspective, and honestly, I feel like she has a very refreshing perspective on it. You know, she definitely isn't a victim of her circumstances. So I think that was so awesome to hear just how empowered she is in spite of the things that she's battling. I think that that's in itself a very, very important message.
Yeah, no, actually a lot of females messaged me and were like, man, I actually have hope for the first time in a long time after listening to that podcast. So
yeah, it was awesome.
Pretty stoked. So shout out to Coach Tulin because she's freaking awesome. But I want to say shout out to you because you guys, this girl, this is on day 3 of Dirty Hair Don't Care.
You just had to go there.
I did. I mean, for real, it's ridiculous. You look gorgeous. And of course, the people that are listening to the podcast can't see how beautiful you look, but we did often. So most listeners know that Cinthanie and I both do health and fitness coaching. And we do these private groups where we show people a sneak peek into what our lives are like as coaches and what exactly it is we do. And so we had one last night and her hair was all beautiful and she's like, it's dirty. I still don't have hot water. So she's without hot watter. And so washing her hair is a little bit challenging.
I've still been showering. Please know that. I'm clean, but my hair isn't.
That's good. I'm glad that you've been showering.
You have to disclaim that.
Yeah.
No, we've been having issues with our hot water and it's taking a little bit longer to fix than we were planning. And so I'm actually going to my mother-in-law's to go wash my hair in hot water today.
Yes. So speaking of mother-in-law, actually future mother-in-law, because you're not quite married yet, but you are almost, is it exactly 5 weeks from today? No, from tomorrow.
No, it's I can't tell you because it's going to stress me out.
No, I think it's 5. I think it's exactly 5 weeks from tomorrow that you marry your high school sweetheart and the love of your life, Tanner.
I do. Yeah. Today's August 11th. We get married September 16th. So 4 weeks and 4 days, 5 days. Yeah. About.
Yeah.
It's coming up really fast.
Okay. And so I want to tell them so they know what to look forward to the week of the wedding.
Oh yeah.
You want to tell them what episode we're going to be filming?
Yeah. So we're actually going to be doing an episode on relationships, and we are going to have
I don't know nothing about relationships, so she's going to be talking.
We're going to have a very special guest who is my fiance, Tanner. So I wrangled him into, that was my prenup. My prenup is you have to do an episode on the podcast.
That's awesome. No,
so we're going to be interviewing Tanner.
You came up with that idea, about a month ago. And just because, we're in the beginning stages of this podcast and we're taking people along this journey. And, the podcast that I listen to on a regular basis that I'm a fan of, which I wanted to talk about in a little bit. But, those listeners, they literally will binge listen, and they will go back from episode 1 and listen to everything. So they get to know us, and they get to know, more than just the information that we have to offer, but they get to know about our families, our loved ones, I think I'm about to open up the whole idea of dating again, which Lord have mercy. I know. But I've been working on me. And so of course the relationship episode that we're going to be recording with you and your fiance will be focused on you guys. At some point we will do a podcast about relationships and my learning of different relationships.
I mean, hey, we're and that's the thing though, is we've always promised to be real and honest and authentic in where we're at. And so I think that it's important to share what season of life you're in and what season of life I'm in, because our relationships are very different right now,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I can, the day and age that the people that are in your millennial stage, early 20s, you guys have so much more information at your fingertips than I ever had. And if I could have had someone that I looked up to and respected give me the kind of information and knowledge that I now have, I probably would have never entered into the 2 serious relationships that, I've had in my adult life. Which, I know it's very powerful because, there's a lot to be said. I'm a strong-willed, independent woman. But that's for another time and day. I mean, we don't want to open Pandora's box yet. I'm just saying.
Crescence says relationships suck.
No, but see, Crescence, I totally think that you need to change your opinion and thoughts of it, because it's totally the energy that you put out into the universe. And I could easily have the mentality of, there aren't very many men that are because I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to settle at all.
No,
and I could easily have the scarcity mindset, but I'm not. Because the universe is abundant, and I'm now that I'm starting to open up to the idea of maybe I'm ready to start dating. I'm going into it with, the universe is abundant, and I'm excited that this next stage so that leads me, before we get into questions, that leads me a great segue. That's a word that I used to never use, and now I use it all the time.
All the time. Yeah, we do. We do say segue quite a
bit. But tomorrow, now, mind you, everyone knows that I love Sean Stevenson. He is happily married, y'all. I'm going to meet him, but yeah. So a lot of people that have followed me for a while have heard me talk about one of my top 3 favorite podcasts. It might be number 1, honestly. It's called The Model Health Show. And in fact, I plan to be the female version of him. He's been doing it a little bit longer than I have, but his co-host, which actually she just left to do her own big thing, but her name was Jay, but she has been with him since the beginning. That was the whole idea that even gave me the idea that I want to co-host. And so who I was going to start thinking about, and because they're very different, but they complemented each other so well. And so the idea of even having a co-host is thanks to Sean Stevenson. So anyway, long story short, I'm listening to one of his podcasts that he dropped this week on Monday, which, man, y'all have to go listen to it. It's a powerful, powerful episode. But he mentions the fact that he's going to be in San Diego, August 12th. And I'm like, that's this weekend. He goes, go to my website for tickets. And so I go, and it's sold out. And I'm like, I never take no for an answer. I'll just tell you that. So I reached out to his assistant, and lo and behold, I got tickets. Just saying.
Yes.
but he, he made the point on the podcast. He's like, you never know who you're going to meet. And I totally am taking signs from the universe, and I know that I'm going to meet some really important people. And
that gave me chills.
Right?
Just thinking about it. Yeah, no, I'm just so excited for you.
Yeah, no, I am too. And I know that a lot of people that have gone through divorce and are finally to a point where they're ready to start opening their mind to, letting their heart be, potentially broken again. Like, it's scary. I'm not going to lie. It's really scary. And that's why we'll definitely do a podcast over that. But that's not why I'm going. I'm going just because I feel like that's where the universe wants me to go. Yeah. And so I'm really excited. So I'm going to get to meet Sean Stevenson, and who knows, who else I'm going to meet tomorrow, but that's tomorrow. So I'm driving down to San Diego. I'm just going to be there for the day. I actually have a few friends that I might reach out to and hang with for a little bit, but I got my dogs. I can't leave them too long here by themselves. So anyway, do we have any questions to start with?
We don't have any questions so far. Not that I'm saying everybody's really excited about hearing about our life. They're excited to go on this journey with us, which I think is great.
Cool. No, for sure. And that's why when you came up with the idea of interviewing Tanner, because, people are going to realize like y'all are totally opposites. Like,
yes. Well, it's funny because you actually have never had a conversation with Tanner yourself. You've never met Tanner, have you?
No, I did.
I swear you have. I want to say that you have.
Yeah, because I've gone to Melissa's house. So yeah, no, I've met it, but I mean,
Tanner,
yeah.
But you've never like sat down and had a conversation with him.
No.
So you just wait.
Oh Lord.
We are polar opposites, and I mean, I think that people that don't know us probably think like, wow, they're so mean to each other because we're very, very sarcastic. Like, we both are very sarcastic. And so
that's awesome.
Like I said, we probably need to put a disclaimer at the beginning that's like, I promise they're in love. Like they're good to each other. But we just love to like tease each other. So people that don't know us,
I'm really excited about recording that episode. And of course, again, it's signs from the universe, because when Robert told us when that particular episode would be released, it just happened to be the same week that your wedding is. So I think it's a sign. I think it's, So, okay. So apparently we have a question on YouTube. Woohoo!
We do.
Okay.
So Jennifer White wants to know, she said, I'm interested in knowing how to heal leaky gut.
Oh, girlfriend. Okay. So first things first, that is definitely going to be a whole episode, if not 2 episodes, because that seems to be a hot topic, just because we're starting to understand the impact of a leaky gut. And one thing I want to make sure that everyone knows, the listener knows, that leaky gut does not mean that you've got normal atypical stool. Okay. I mean, you can have atypical stool, but of course the image that you get when you hear leaky gut is not a good one.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say. But a lot of people, so one of the things that you have to question is, do I have a leaky gut? And if you've been born by C-section, that can set you up for not having the good kind of bacteria literally from day one. Having a childhood history of multiple antibiotics, not necessarily childhood, but I mean, I still know of adults that will go to their doctor and say, I got a cold and I need an antibiotic. And I'm like, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Don't.
Yeah, you're killing me and all of the good bacteria in your gut.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of leaky gut is that our gut has this perfect barrier, right? And the description I like is the bouncers at the club. Of course, it's been so long since I've been to the club, so I assume the bouncers still look the same, mean and tough, and like, I ain't letting you in. But then all of a sudden, there's some riffraff over in the back part of the club, so they have to go, and then all of a sudden, the doors are open to let riffraff in, right? And that's what happens with leaky gut, is that your gut lets substances into the body that are not supposed to go in there. And so the question that Jennifer had was, how do I heal it? Well, there's a lot of different ways, and sometimes it takes years to heal it. It's not something that just happens overnight. And maybe this is an episode that we should film next week, by the way. Now that I think,
noted. Robert, write it down. We really need a shirt that says Robert, write that down.
Right. For real. But one of the easiest places to start is to start changing your nutrition. And changing your nutrition is something that a lot of people think is hard. But it doesn't have to be hard. But the first thing that you can do is start by cutting out all of the fake foods. So all of if a food, it went through a manufacturing company and went through all these chemicals and have ingredients that you can't pronounce their name, a whole bunch of refined sugars, refined carbohydrates, refined grains, refined chemicals, artificial sweeteners, artificial ingredients in general, dyes, all of those kind of things. That's the first place to start. Just cut them all out. And there's some great elimination diets that you can go to. There's bone broth is one thing that I know 100% helps healing leaky gut. And most of you guys know I drink it every day. If you look in my refrigerator, I've got a big container of it that I make. And I usually drink about 2 cups per day of it. And I mean, I truly believe that in combination with my good nutrition after having my major knee surgery in 2015, December of 2015, had a lot to do with healing my body. And so we're talking about healing our body, healing our gut is no different. And this is the message that you're going to get tired of hearing me say, but I want to drill in your head is that you heal the body by starting with food, because food is medicine. And if you're feeding your body a bunch of crap and fake foods, it's not going to function the way it's supposed to. So
for sure.
Do you have anything else to add to that, Cinthanie?
Yeah, if I can.
Of course.
I was actually talking with my mom about this the other day. Yeah. When you are in a situation where you do need to fix something in your body, you need to, instead of looking at food as comfort or luxury, you need to look at it as a way you need to eat like you're healing your body instead of eating like I'm hungry or I'm stressed out, so I'm going to eat this. You need to look at food as a way to heal your body. And if you can look at it and eat like you are healing your body, then honestly, I think with that mindset, it's going to empower you to be able to make the decisions that you need to, because you've made your mind up about it. Your mind is made up that you're going to eat to heal your body.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing that I wanted to make sure that people know is that stress, just living in a state of stress can cause problems with your gut. So literally looking at easy things to fix, like sleep. And I know that some of you guys are like, it's not easy to fix. Well, if you do some major, and in fact, Sean Stevenson wrote the book that it's a #1 bestseller called Sleep Smarter. In fact, I listened to the audio book, but I haven't bought the actual book. So I might just buy the actual hard copy book so I can get it signed and maybe send it to someone, but sleeping, your sleep health is something that people just overestimate how important it can be. Like literally you can not change any other factors, but change your sleep and lose weight.
Yeah.
And that right there should be enough reason for you guys to understand that it's an important thing that we're all taking for granted. And turn off your computer, guys. Shut off your cell phone. Yes. And I don't have my geeky blue blocking glasses, but I mean, I try and wear those about an hour before I go to sleep.
I do too.
I've changed the bulb on my my bedside table so that it's not a bright light; it's a red light, so that it's not messing with my optic nerve and my pineal gland that suppresses melatonin. That's because that's what happens is that when the sun is out, the sun is basically giving us signals to our brain that, hey, you don't need to be asleep. You need to be awake. So that pineal gland doesn't produce melatonin, right? But at nighttime, that's when the brain gets signals like, hey, you're supposed to be sleeping. But if you're doing all this artificial stuff to it, if you're watching movies that cause stress induction of, like a drama or something that provokes an emotion, that's still stress, guys. Yeah. So those are some great places to start.
Mm-hmm. And something, if I can tack on to that, some people that are really stressed out might be sitting here hearing us saying you need to eliminate stress in your life, and that stresses them out because they're like, I can't do it. I can't. It's funny because Lauren and I both we are what's called success partners. So we just kind of check in each other each week on our business goals and our health and coaching. And we both had kind of had like a little bit of a stressful week, and we both just decided that we were going to change our mindset and shift our focus. And I know that I have had a way better week this week in comparison to the hot mess that I was last week.
Yes.
Because I chose to allow myself to focus on the good. And so if you are stressed, I understand, you're a human. Like, we all get stressed about stuff. But if you can just shift your mindset, instead of saying, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so stressed, just Think about the things that you can control. Focus on that. Start your day with some kind of affirmation or something positive. Like just write down one thing you're grateful for in the morning. And it might sound stupid and you might not want to do it, but after time, like it's just going to allow you to shift your mindset. And when you shift your mindset, I think that will really allow you to also eliminate a lot of unnecessary stress that's just chatter going on in your brain that you actually, it's just fabricated in your mind that you're not really experiencing, but you're magnifying in your mind and you think that you are. So just try to shift your mindset. Know that you're a good person. You deserve good things to happen to you. And you are in control of the stress that you allow yourself to take on.
Exactly. All right. Do we have any more questions?
Yes. So Denise wants to know, she said, it's not a related question to this topic, but I'm looking to start my journey in being healthy. I just don't know how to stay on track and say no to temptations. They are everywhere. And we even own an Italian restaurant. Well, first of all, I got to come try your Italian restaurant.
No,
I grew up Italian. I have a big Italian family. So I get it.
That struggle is real, especially when you own, like there's a little bakery that just opened right down the street and I pass it almost every day when I walk my dogs. And, you know, I think about like how hard it would be to have that business knowing what I know. It's almost like I've got very close family friends that own a major brand of a soda plant. And they're not happy with me talking about how evil soda and diet soda is. But the fact is, like, I don't care how much money it brings in. I don't think I'd be able to sleep at night if I knew that what I'm producing is causing problems. And so, not to say that Italian food is causing problems, because you can go to Italy and people don't have the issues that they have here. So much of it has to do with, well, that's just a complicated issue, but starting your journey, you're right, Denise, it's not easy. And this is why you need help. You need help from a health and fitness coach, like people like me or Cinthanie. Either one of us would love to help you. Sometimes people prefer to have people that are local to them. We do. Most of my clients are all over the United States and Canada. And we have, I call these groups magical because I was just talking about this last night on this sneak peek that we did. If you're like, Achilles heel is Krispy Kreme donuts. And you know that there's a drug rep that brings them in every freaking time they come to visit the office. And you know, because no one's watching, well, whether anyone's watching or not, you're always like, you justify it in your head, oh, it's Krispy Kreme, it's my favorite. And you just get one and then maybe two. And then, well, no one saw me get the first two, so I might as well have a 3 because that's my favorite number. That's how we know, right?
It's so true. I'm laughing because it's so true.
No, I mean, our relationship with food is so jacked up. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about is the psychology of food, the psychology of eating, because there's so many factors that go into it.
Write that down, Robert.
Yeah, I know, for real. For real. Because, you know, why do I make that joke about, you know, justifying number 3? Because I've done that crap so many times.
Yes.
I'm human. And just like anyone else that's listening, I'm sure, I mean, Cinthanie laughed. I'm sure that you've had that same justification with whatever your food, and Krispy Kreme is not my thing. But anyway, the whole point is you're in a group like this and you take a picture and like, oh, you guys help me out, help a sister out. And then someone else is like, girl, my drug rep did the same damn thing today. We can do this. Let's say no today. And then all of a sudden you do something that you haven't done in the past, which is say no to this one little temptation. And yes, that one little temptation is not going to make your, you know, ass look the way you want it to, or your waist to go down, but it's little baby steps like that every single day that add up. And over the long run, all of a sudden you're like one of my many clients, because most people that get in my challenge group, they stay because it's consistent weight loss with the support group. And so you're like any one of my people that have been with me for months now, send me a picture on Monday, because Mondays are when they send me pictures. And I'll see that they're down in their wording or whatnot. And I'll be like, sister, go look at this date. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're right. I so needed to hear that. I didn't do anything magic, right? But the fact is that those baby steps every single week of saying no. And are they perfect all the time? No, but don't do this journey on your own.
Yeah.
Don't do this journey on your own.
For sure. It's a very good point. I agree. Find an environment that you can thrive in.
Yes.
Make sure that you're in an environment that you can thrive in.
Yes.
So Chris, or should I say Croissant, he said, question, I don't have calluses, but what is the best way to treat them when you do have them, whether they're on your hands or your feet? I'm fascinated by it.
Oh, hail.
Don't get calluses. That's what my suggestion.
It's called a regular pedicure. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, for real. No, I actually, I don't know. I mean, I know that when I don't get regular pedicures because I'm active, and Croissant say, I know that you're active. It's the body's mechanism to protect yourself from, having wounds that stay open and let bacteria that are not supposed to be inside, because our skin is our biggest organ, right? It's our biggest blockade. I mean, you talk about, what did I want to say? Bouncers. That's what
the bouncers.
when I do that with my fist, bouncers. That's what I'm trying. The word I'm looking for. You talk about bouncers. Your skin is the ultimate bouncer, because I mean we're exposed to so much crap on a daily basis, and our skin's job is to keep it outside of our body, right? And so that's ultimately, but truly, getting a regular pedicure, whether you're a guy or a girl, it's for everyone, or give yourself one,
Yeah. Doctor's orders. You heard it. Get a pedicure.
Exactly. Do we have any other questions?
We do. So Kim wants to know, she said, I'm having some major pain in my knees
Kim
all
who?
of a sudden. Kim Berg.
Okay. Hi, Kim Berg.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl.
She said, I have gone to a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who took x-rays and said everything looks great, but I'm in so much pain it even hurts to touch my knees. They are so tender. I get pain in my lower legs when I lay down in bed or sit, and it's just so strange. Do you have any suggestions or workouts that I could do to build up the muscles around my knee?
Okay. That's a great question, actually. And in fact, this is one of my biggest pet peeves about most doctors, and not all Western doctors are like this. I mean, like in med school, I realized that not all MDs are good, just like not all RNs are good. And just because a person has letters behind their name doesn't mean that they should be trusted. And so ultimately, first thing you need to know is that you are the paying customer. And you always have the right to fire your doctor. Obviously, if your doctor is telling you, well, I don't see anything, there's nothing wrong with you, but you know that something's going on, I would say, let's get a second opinion and let's go to a different doctor. In OKC, there's this one orthopedic surgeon who he basically had to come to Jesus. He had, I believe he suffered from a heart attack. And that was when he basically learned that nutrition and the way that you eat is the best medicine. And so I love the way he approaches his patients. It's not just automatically a prescription medicine or surgery, right?
Yeah.
But it would be nice to get a second opinion, go to a functional medicine doctor, a physical therapist that is in tune with, it's not just the standard one. This is where you're going to have to, think outside of the box and ask around. Don't just assume. Anytime that I'm looking for a doctor or someone to go to, I look and ask who would other doctors want to go to. You don't want to just go to Dr. So-and-so because your neighbor went there. That's the worst thing. Not the worst thing, but that doesn't mean that it's a good doctor. But you obviously, you're listening to your body and something's going on. I would definitely start with factors that you can control. And so many people don't understand like some basic stuff that can be cut out of your diet that all of a sudden you probably have a high state of inflammation going on. Honestly, you probably have leaky gut, and you probably have a food intolerance, if not intolerances. And so the best thing to do would be start with an elimination diet and see. And, honestly, a ketogenic diet is a great way. It gets you into a low inflammatory state. It can be done pretty easily, but you got to know how to do it. And so that's another reason. Ask for help. Don't just, read an article from, his and her health and fitness and then just assume. Like, ask for help. But don't just roll over and just say, okay, I guess this is what I have to live with. No, it's not what you have to live with. But you got to figure out what factors in your daily routines you can change to decrease that state of inflammation, because that's what's going on underlying everything.
So Autumn Leaves wants to know, she said, how do you have the confidence to exercise and lose weight? Because I love dancing.
Autumn, girl after my own heart. I was actually listening to, so one of the things that it's part of our job as health and fitness coaches is to do personal development. So we call it PD. So PD every day. And PD is actually my favorite part. I've been doing personal development really since before I was a coach, because I'm always wanting to learn about how I can make myself better. And one of the PDs that I was listening to this week talked about finding your purpose and really understanding. And there was something that she said that made me realize, like, I love to help people connect with the emotion that dance brings to people. And dance happens to be exercise, right? And that's why I love the fact that dance can be incorporated into helping build your confidence, helping you lose weight, helping you find a community that helps you come do that. I would say a majority of the people that are my coaches and in my challenge group are almost all dance fitness fans. That's how they find. I mean, we're on the Club Fitz Fitness page, which is pretty much mostly dance fitness. And most of us incorporate dance fitness into our regimen, but having a community, that's where it's at. Building confidence by yourself, especially if you were raised in an environment, whether it was your parents or maybe bullies at school or a family member that was just an a-hole, or it could be a combination of all of them. Confidence is something that most people weren't raised to have. And it's not something that happens overnight, but it happens with you being intentional in learning how to gain confidence and being intentional on who you surround yourself by. And that's why community is everything. That's why I love what I do as a coach, is that we create a community where people feel safe to share their struggles, to share the fact that I when I look in the mirror, I don't like what I see and I'm not confident. And how do you expect me to do this? And then other people are like, sister, I was there with you. I hear you. And it's one day at a time. And you guys, exercise is like, they've looked at many studies comparing exercise with placebo with antidepressants, and exercise beats them out every single time. Mm-hmm. So having that just be part of your daily routine, whether it be dance every day, or maybe it's dance. Like for me, I usually dance. I only teach one class a week, but I'm usually dancing 2 to 3 times a week because it just brings me happiness and joy. And it releases some serotonin. It's a great antidepressant. It makes my body feel good. I feel comfortable in my body. But that's in a long roundabout way. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So another question is, I'm going to butcher this, and I'm sorry, girl, because everybody butchers my name, but I think it's Kesia. I don't know. Kesia, Virginia. What would you say about back pain, bulging disc, that it came on an MRI?
Ooh, well, I can tell you because I have 2 of them, just so you know. In fact, so I started to feel, and no, I've not had surgery. No, I do not take any prescription medicines. And no, I've not had needles stuck in my back. So let me just give you hope that there are answers. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be your answer, but the fact is that too many times people just assume that, MRI says this, so I got to have this. Mm-hmm. No. So I first started feeling that lower back pain at nighttime, like literally something easy as going from one side of the body to the next. I would have to like bend my knee and lift my lower body up to turn. It's weird. And it's only something that people with lower back pain can relate with, but it's not the twisting sensation that you can do when you don't have lower back issues is taken away when you have a bulging disc. And so I lived with it, and I definitely, started to focus on building my core. So the stronger my core got, the better it was. But when I had my knee injury, December 14th, I got an MRI 2 days later, and I'm like, well, I'm already here. I might as well scan my back. I'm just curious. And sure enough, I have been living with 2 herniated disc in my L3, L4, and L4, L5. I still have them. I don't know if it's both, because it can naturally heal themselves. I do feel them when I am not doing core exercises on a regular basis, when my diet is not on point, when I'm not getting good sleep, when I'm more stressed than normal. And it all goes back to diet and lifestyle. So when I was in the pain clinic and taking care of, cause the pain clinic was mostly back pain. We would inject neck, lower back, every now and then the thoracic back, but for the most part, majority were lower back. And I would always give them the resource, which is, you've heard me talk about many times, but the whole30.com, because it's one of the many great elimination diets where it gets out inflammatory foods. And that's a factor that you can control, that doesn't require prescription, that doesn't require anything but you making the active decision that, okay, I'm going to do everything in my power to make this pain go away. And if it's still not gone, then maybe prescription medicine is the key. Maybe a shot in my back is the key. Maybe surgery is the key. But before you go to those extreme measures, you want to make damn sure that you've done everything in your power. And it doesn't happen overnight either, you guys. You've been living with this inflammatory state from the standard American diet. So don't just think that, I still have back pain after, doing this for a week. Well, yeah, give it time. But food is medicine. And if you give your body the good kind of medicine, the natural food that it was designed to eat, it will start healing itself. And so do you have something to say?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you sound like you were going to say something, but my point is I can relate because I had 2 discs that are herniated, MRI confirmed. That was 2015. So less than 2 years ago. I mean, y'all see it. I drop it like it's hot now. Just saying.
On and popping.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we have another question from Tammy. So she said, "Hey, beautiful ladies, just tuning in, so
Tammy.
I apologize."
Is it Tammy K?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, girl, I was just thinking about you the other day. Miss you. Okay, go ahead.
So she said, "I'm 42 and have had a full hysterectomy at age 24 because of severe endometriosis. If I'd only known what I know now, I would have treated it with diet modification. My question is this. I've been working toward not taking any medications because I know how they can mess up everything else. What about hormone replacement? Is this something that I can fix with proper nutrition, or will I always have to take a hormone replacement?"
Well, it depends on, and Tammy, because I've heard, obviously I've heard the story in the back of your vehicle, because you guys, Tammy is a huge FITz fan who's been to almost every single masterclass I've ever taught, and she and her husband John are great people, and I'm familiar with the story. I can't remember though if they took your ovaries out or not, and that is the crucial factor, because our ovaries are the organs that make all of our sex hormones. And obviously, as we get closer and closer to that time where our ovaries don't ovulate anymore, don't make the eggs, whatnot, that's menopause. And you're not at that point yet. But if you get your ovaries taken at 24 when you have surgery, then you're automatically put into menopause. And yes, unfortunately, you will have to have hormone replacement. Just like if you get your thyroid taken out, you have to have thyroid hormone to survive. And so there's so many people that I think get their thyroid taken out way too early before trying everything in their power to avoid surgery. Because once you take your entire thyroid out, you're destined to the rest of your life to take hormone replacement. Bottom line. So yeah, Tammy, and this is one reason, of course, Tammy has 2 daughters that are millennials essentially. And that's one of the reasons that we're doing this podcast, is because, man, if I only had this much of knowledge that you already have at 23, Cinthanie, I can't imagine how so many things would have been so much easier, just because I would have avoided so much, because knowledge is that power, is that potential power. And so that's half the reason why I want to do these podcasts, because, how, like last week's episode of PCOS, how many people are just now given hope because they thought, oh, they're going to be destined to, having to take birth control or having a hysterectomy or whatnot. And no, you're not destined to that. Yes, you do. And it's not easy, just because the way that society is today, we're set up to fail when it comes to our health and nutrition. But, this is why having accountability and having other people that are on the same journey with you, it's a game changer.
Okay. So Jennifer Seitzer wants to know, she said, how can you exercise if you have an umbilical hernia?
That's a great question. So you can exercise. The thing that we worry about, so umbilical hernia is essentially your belly button. When your belly button, the layer below your skin, essentially, and I'm not going to get medical terminology for you guys. I'm not going to geek out on you, but literally the layer that is underneath your skin, but that keeps all of your innards in, your GI, your guts, your small and large intestine, whatnot. There's a defect, right? And so a person without an umbilical hernia, you can't feel a hole. But essentially with umbilical hernia, you have the potential of those insides coming into that little defect and essentially like getting caught and kinked. And that's what we worry about. Any kind of hernia. So there's a few different kinds of hernia, but the two most common kinds are umbilical hernias and inguinal hernias. So inguinal is basically at the pelvis. So right where, like if you bend your leg, I'm bending my leg like you can see me, but you can't. But right at that crease between your abdomen and your thigh, that's your inguinal area. So those are the two most common areas of hernias. And we do repairs on them all the time. But I'm definitely of the mindset that if you're living functionally with it and it's not causing massive pain. So that's one reason why people will get hernia repaired. And the only way that you can repair that, you can't repair it with nutrition. This is one of the things that you definitely cannot repair, but you can live indefinitely with a hernia, like till you die, as long as it's not causing crazy pain. And sometimes the pain is terrible. And then as long as there's no incarceration of your intestines, which basically means that your intestines comes out into that little window and it gets caught. And that's actually a surgical emergency. So as long as those two things are not happening, and one thing you want to make sure, and Jennifer, I know that you don't struggle with your weight, but as we get larger, you have a higher risk of those things happening just because you have more adipose tissue that's pushing on the intestines that puts you at higher increased risk for having an incarcerated hernia. An incarcerated hernia automatically equals surgical intervention. And that's what you want to avoid.
Yeah.
But you might not be able to avoid it. So hopefully that answered your question, Jennifer.
So Kendra Miley wants to know, she said, hey, Lauren, what do you recommend if someone has postpartum onset?
Postpartum onset of depression, I assume.
So
usually when people talk about postpartum, they're usually talking about postpartum depression. And this is something it's a common topic. In fact, Robert, take out your notepad and write down this topic because we definitely, we definitely need to do an episode just related to that because it's a topic that there's so many topics that I don't personally understand why they are faux pas, but that's just me being a medical doctor and I'm used to talking about anything and everything openly, right? But this is a topic that a lot of people are ashamed to talk about. And, first things first, there's nothing to be ashamed about. Sorry, my dog, you're going to hear barking. She's barking McBarkerson. But the fact is that after you deliver baby, you essentially go into this, it's pretty much like a menopausal state where your hormones are just non-existent. And it takes a good 6 months for your hormones to even start to get back to normal. So that's why that first 3 to 6 months after you have a baby, you feel like you're crazy. And it's because your hormones are making you feel like you're crazy. Yeah. And the worst thing to do is to try and go through it by yourself. And so, obviously online, there's some great resources, but I'm sure wherever you're at, there are physical resources that you can go and join communities. And the first place that I would start is actually reaching out to your OBGYN and say, look, because this is a common thing that they see all the time, but they don't, I think most of them have that questionnaire when they see moms post-op and not post-op, but post-baby. If you're not open to telling them what you're struggling with, then they can't help you. And so just knowing that this is not something to be ashamed about, it's something really, really common. It can be definitely made better, but it can also kill you. Meaning that postpartum depression can be so bad that it will take a new mom to suicidal thoughts that could potentially actually kill her. And so take it serious, but don't be ashamed of it. And know that it's something that many women have fought and overcome.
So we have got one more question.
Okay, one more question, then we'll wrap it up.
Kim Berg wants to know, can you drink Shakeology on a keto diet?
That's a great question. So what we have, and maybe we should just do a whole episode about keto because
I did a live about keto last night.
Oh, nice. It's the hot topic, and it's a hot topic for good reasons, because there's a lot of great things that come along with being in ketosis, cyclic ketosis, and long-term ketosis. But a lot of people just assume that if they just eat high fat and low carb, they're automatically doing a keto diet. And that's wrong, because it has everything to do with the percent of their macronutrients, their fat to protein to carbohydrates. And if you are having enough fat in your meal, so for instance, Shakeology, it has some carbohydrates in it, right? As long as I put fat with it, so I use Bulletproof's Brain Octane. That's their caprylic acid, which is their MCT oil. And that it's high in fat, 0 carbohydrates. And that ratio keeps me where I can stay in ketosis with Shakeology. That way I'm still getting all of those dense nutrients that Shakeology has. It has over 70 different superfoods that give me the micronutrients that I need, because I'm getting my macronutrients. Carbohydrates, protein, and fat, right? But remember, out of macronutrients, there's only 2 essential, right? And so many people assume that we can't live without carbohydrates. There are no essential carbohydrates. There's essential amino acids and there's essential fatty acids. There's no essential carbohydrates, okay? I've got no problem getting my macronutrients in, but getting my micronutrients in for me to perform at my best, which means that I feel the best, I sleep the best, my hair, my skin, my nails, my GI tract, my immune system. You guys, I haven't been sick since Shakeology, and I drink it every day. And it's because it's got pre and probiotics. It's giving me all of these dense nutrients. And so, yes, you can stay in ketosis by drinking Shakeology, but you have to understand what being in ketosis means.
Yeah.
And the only way that you can for sure guarantee that you're in ketosis is by testing it. And there's 3 different ways to test it: urine, blood, and breath. And unless you test it, you don't know. So you can't just assume, well, the vegan Shakeology has 15 grams of carbohydrates and blah, 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 so that I can't stay in ketosis. No, you're wrong. And the only way that you're going to be able to know is by you being the N of 1 and testing on yourself. But I'm definitely a fan of ketogenic diets. I've seen them work for a lot of people. But I always like to stress that there's no one perfect diet for everyone. And so just because Susie Q went on a ketogenic diet and lost a lot of weight does not mean that that's going to be for you, because you have totally different genes and totally different everything. And so you have to be willing to figure out what your body needs and what works on your body.
And if there's, I literally, like, everything you just said is basically what I said in my live video last night.
Hey,
so cool.
And you don't even have an MD.
But I am an honorary MD.
Right? For real. your AMD that you're going to get after this podcast is done. Yeah.
No, but
if there is, not A.
Yeah, H. If there is one thing I can add to it, in my personal opinion, the difference between, because people all the time ask me, what's the difference between, do you eat keto? Like, what's the difference between keto and high fat, low carb? In my opinion, the difference is that keto to me is very macronutrient based, as where high fat, low carb for me, it's very ingredient based.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm still paying attention to my macros, but what I want to really pay the most attention to is the ingredients.
Yeah.
So heck yes, I'm going to drink Shakeology, whether it's 15 grams of carbs or not, because of the ingredients. I can't get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
So not only paying attention to the fats that you're getting and things like that, but be an ingredient hunter, read the labels, understand what you're putting into your body, because even if you're doing keto and you're losing weight, you might be getting skinny, but you're not getting healthy if you're not putting the right things into your body. So make sure you pay attention to not just the numbers of it, but also the ingredients of what you're consuming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cause I mean, food, it's information. It's information that you're giving your body. And I've seen, just like any way of eating, people abuse it. And I've seen people abuse the whole ketogenic, way of eating. But then I've seen a lot of people do it right. Like a lot of the people that I really respect in the health and fitness world will practice a ketogenic diet every day, if not cyclical, so it can be done in a healthy way, but yes, ingredients, that's a great point. So anyway, well, we thank you guys. Oh, I want to make sure, Wednesday, we have a special guest. I'm going to be interviewing the Brutes. I'm going to have them here to my podcast studio. So you get to see them live. For those of you that don't know who the Brutes are, they're close friends of mine. They're great guys. They've made a huge tidal wave in the dance fitness world. But there's so much more to them than just good looking, buff, black dudes that can dance. I'm just going to say it. I mean, truly, like their story is one that will inspire you. It will make you realize that, man, you really can't judge a book by its cover. After hearing their story and hearing them talk, I guarantee one thing, you'll walk away wanting to be a better person. So we stay tuned for the time. It's going to be Wednesday, but we're going to be filming the episode live. And then once we're done with the episode, we'll have them stick around and answer any questions that you guys have after listening to the interview. All right.
So it'll be a Wednesday Q&A.
Exactly.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah. Right. So thank you guys so much for spending your Friday afternoon with us. We look forward to this time so much. Thank you for your questions. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email us your questions at info@clubfitzfitness.com, and we will get to those questions as best as our ability. And of course, Crisante, I'm going to have to look up the callus question because I just don't know.
And you can leave it on our Instagram.
Oh yeah, that
we
too.
Officially have a Fitz and Healthy podcast Instagram.
Yes.
So if you go to Instagram and type out, there's no and sign in it. I know that's our signature, but not in Instagram. So it's Fitz and Healthy podcast. So make sure you're following us on Instagram because that's a great place to leave questions too.
That's a great point.
Leave us questions or suggestions on topics that you want to hear about. We love your feedback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you guys so much for spending Friday with us. And then Cinthanie, you have a message for them?
Always. It's that you are a good person and you deserve good things to happen to you.
Amen. See you guys next week. Bye. Make sure that you find us on social media. You can find Cinthanie on Instagram and Facebook at Cinthanie. So that's CINTHANIE, and on Snapchat at Cinthanie P. And find me on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Club Fitz Fitness. Remember, that's FITZ Fitness. And on Snapchat, just at Club Fitz. I appreciate your time listening so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, can you please go do me a favor and go subscribe at whatever platform that it is that you listen to podcasts. Leave a review. We read every single review and we appreciate the time that you take to leave your thoughts and opinions. Now, also remember, while I am a medical doctor, the information I provide here is not intended to provide medical advice or a professional diagnosis, opinion, treatment, or services to you or to any other individual. I am providing general information for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for medical or professional care. You should not use this information in place of a visit, call, consultation, or the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. The information I share is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. If you believe you have a medical emergency, just call 911 immediately or your physician. Now, enough of that medical legal jargon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your time. Now, go live a Fitz and Healthy life.